Thanks for joining us back here. We're going to take a few moments. We're going to unpack the idea of value. Now, the Word of God teaches us that as children of God, we are created with value. You were created for a purpose. You were created for a reason. God knew you in your mother's womb. So there's value to your life. But there's also another concept of values that sometimes we forget. Value as in what we live up to, what we're living for. Values are what make you who you are. They are what you live by. That which you value will make you into the person you see in the mirror. Maybe you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you don't like who you see. You don't like what you're looking at. You don't like the decisions you're making, the lifestyle you've chosen. Those things didn't happen overnight. Who we are isn't created in an instant. Who we are is created because of the values that we live up to. Before you can decide what you should value, let's take a moment to see what it is that you are already valuing. The best way to do this is take a moment and look at your calendar. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video. Pull up your calendar if you have a digital one. If you have a written calendar, take a moment, go grab it. But whatever you've got to do, go get a calendar. If you don't have a calendar, I want to highly encourage you to get one as soon as possible. The reality is if we don't plan our life will plan it for us. And sometimes the plans that it will make, we're not going to be very happy with. So I encourage you, take a moment, go find your calendar. So now that you have your calendar, if you've went and found one, what I want you to do is I want you to take it and I want you to look over the past 2 weeks. Where's your time been spent? What have you been doing? For many, it's a hard reality to look at this misprioritization of their lives and be so honest. But we've got to be honest with ourselves before we do anything else. Where is your time spent? Your time is spent on where you value. There is a keen difference between values and priorities. Now, I'm not talking about what do you have to get done today? Maybe it's a work responsibility. Maybe it's a responsibility for the children. I learned a long time ago that there's something that everyone has in common. People do what they want to do. Not what they have to do, but what they want to do. So look at your schedule. Look at your calendar. Where are you spending your time? Where you spend the most of your time is what you value the most. Now here are some questions that will help you steer through this process. I encourage you, get a pen and paper and write down some answers. Now, you're not going to immediately come up with your values. It's going to take a little bit of time to kind of weed through them and analyze them. But here's some great questions to get you started. What makes you feel, say, fulfilled? You know what I mean, not just happy, but what makes you fulfilled? What is it that after you're done that you stop and go, I feel complete inside? What is it at the end of the day? Maybe a day full of tasks, many of which are menial and have no real fulfillment. But there's something you do during that day that at the end, you say, I feel fulfilled. Maybe as a parent, it's being with your kids. Spending a few moments with your kids leave you feeling fulfilled. Maybe it's working out. Maybe it's spending time with the Lord. What is it for you? In fact, why don't you try finishing the questions? When I blank, it makes me feel good about myself. When I fill in the blank, it makes me feel good about myself. Jot down some notes, jot down some ideas. We're not looking for anything specific, but just write something down there. What things do you want to be remembered for? Do you want to be remembered for they put in 60 hours of work a week? Do you want to be remembered for he was a good cook? She was a great mom? What is it that you want to be remembered for? Write those things down. It may be more than one word. It may be a sentence, but write it down. After going through this processing and cleaning up the wording that you came up with, what are some key phrases that stand out? In fact, what I encourage you to do is take a sheet of paper, or maybe even if you're a computer person, use Excel or numbers, and make a column of what those things are that you value the most. Don't necessarily worry about prioritizing them yet, but make a list of what you value the most. In fact, I'm going to take a moment and share with you my list. Now, yours may look quite similar because, quite frankly, a lot of these attributes are things that need to be in all of our lives. Mine, I'll start with the letter F. It's not because I like the letter F, but it's to help me remember them a little bit easier. Number 1, faith. That's my relationship with God. Number 2 is fitness. That's my health, both physically and emotionally. After that is family. That's my wife, then my children, then my extended family. Now you may be asking, Pastor Jeremy, why would you put fitness above family? Quite simply, if I'm not healthy, I can't be a good father. If I'm not healthy, I can't be a good husband. After family, I put finances. That's working. That's paying the bills. That's putting money back in savings. That's something that I value. When I have a good day at work, when I feel like I'm doing my job, I feel fulfilled as a man. When I have money in savings, I feel fulfilled that I've taken care of my family. After that, I put future. That's investing into my future, my family's future, with education, personal investment, reading books, taking care of myself, planning for our future. After that, I put fun. I think everybody needs to have a good time. And for me, I like having a good time as well. So lastly, I put fun. Those are things that are refreshing. For me, that's stuff like golf, riding motorcycles, working on motorcycles. Things that I enjoy that at the end of it, I feel fulfilled. Unfortunately, what happens is a lot of times we misprioritize and we put fun way up top. And the reality is that's not healthy. Just because you're doing something fun does not mean you're doing something fulfilling. We're looking for things that leave us fulfilled at the end of it. Now, yours doesn't have to look like mine, and like I said, it doesn't all have to start with the same letter. But I really do believe odds are good yours will look very similar. Slightly different, and that's fine, but it will look similar. Now, if you don't have a good way of organizing this information, I'm making a PDF available right here on the website at jeremygodwin.com. You'll see it right here on the same page. It's a PDF download on coaching for fulfillment. That fill-in page is going to look very similar and very useful for these next few steps that we're going to go into. Now, join us for the next installment where we talk about goals.